Good morning to everybody here on the podcast, Unfiltered Podcast, or good evening, or maybe, or good afternoon. Depends when this is this podcast. I'm your host, Ernest E.J. Christian. It is December 4th, 2019, and we are in the midst of the holiday season, which also means the end of the college football season, the end. We got the college, obviously got the championship weekend coming up this coming weekend. We have bowl season in a few weeks to come. We got the stretch run, the NFL season, NBA's in full gear. Obviously, lots going on in the world of sports. I tried to do one of these pods the last 2 days, but between work, between family, between other priorities, I couldn't even carve out 50 minutes of time to do this. I'm gonna try to move forward, but this podcast today is also presented by the new Take 3 Wrestling podcast that myself, my good friends Joe Lopez and Mike Bernier just launched, or should I say relaunch or reformatted, as I explained the last time you were on the show, that we had actually started a podcast over the summer, the Wrestling Retrospective, which was focused solely on covering old wrestling events from yesteryear. We did a couple episodes over the summer, and then we kind of stalled out. Not because we didn't want to do the podcast, just we couldn't find any time. And then we got back together, as I said, again recently, and we said, look, we still want to pod together, but we want to kind of change up the format a little bit and kind of cover new, not just the old, but the new also too. So we decided to change up the format a little bit, and now it's basically each of us come up with take a week, and we dive into it in a roundtable fashion. So it's the first episode's out already. It came out Sunday. We had a really good time recording that one. I think we covered NXT and who could be the future champions. I brought in the topic of Mount Rushmore's all time. I mean, this is after the Bleacher Report just put out their latest list and sparked some discussion on social media. And I believe also the Elite of the AEW. So we're off and running with that podcast. And I mean, this one episode in, honestly, we're pretty happy about it. So again, this show today is brought to you by Take 3 Podcast. Check it out. Take 3 Wrestling Podcast on iTunes. Well, should I say on Apple Podcasts and on Stitcher Radio and all that. Okay, so I was able to review all the games of the weekend. So what I'm going to do, rather than review all the games of the weekend, I'm going to give you I'm going to break through the playoff picture right now in the AFC and the NFC right now, and just give my locks. We've been doing this locks thing with typically with Kyle Nash on the Studio Report. We do it this every other week, whatever. But of course, we won't be able to do one this week because again, scheduling issues and time is kind of shortened now with that. But that being said, here is the playoff picture right now. If the playoffs started today in the AFC right now, the number one seed right now will be the Baltimore Ravens by virtue of and they have a tiebreaker over the New England Patriots, who also 10-2. But because of the tiebreaker that Baltimore beat New England a couple weeks ago, Baltimore has the number one seed. Number two will be New England still. Number three will be Kansas City, and number four would be actually no, I apologize. Number three will be Houston, and number four will be Kansas City. Both at 8-4 right now. And in my opinion, all four of those teams are locked to make the playoffs. There's no question about that. Whether the position is different or not in the coming weeks, that's different. But in terms of will these four teams make the playoffs, I have no doubt they'll be in the playoffs. The wild card, number 5, the seed wild card is the Buffalo Bills, who are 9-3. Very impressive. I think they're locked now. I mean, winning is. I said last week they beat Dallas. There's no question. I mean, I don't see this team losing 4 games the rest of the year, and even then, I'm not even sure if the other teams under them will actually win out. So I got Buffalo locked as a wild card team, and right now number 6, and who might be coach of the year, depending on how this thing plays out. The Steelers right now will be the 6th seed in the AFC in the playoffs start today. Mike Tomlin's doing a phenomenal job in Pittsburgh. He is down to his third-string quarterback. Okay, guys? He is down to his third-string quarterback. This was actually supposed to be a year of transition, not having Antonio Brown, not having Le'Veon Bell, obviously, and yet they're 7-5 in the thick of things in the playoff race. Gotta give Mike Tomlin credit there. I don't think they're locked yet. I actually picked Tennessee a few weeks ago to make the playoffs, and they're tied with Pittsburgh, and they're surging right now at 7-5 as well too. Now they have a pretty tough schedule ahead. They got the Saints on the schedule. Raiders, I was thinking a little bit, so they can win that game, and I think the Texans twice, I believe, on the schedule moving forward. But they won a big game against Indy this weekend, so that we'll see what happens there. All right, so let's go to the NFC side now. Now the playoffs are in the NFC right now. We got three teams right now with the same record, 10-2 in the NFC. But right now the playoffs are today. The New Orleans Saints will be number 1 seed in the NFC. Number 2 would be Seattle. 3 would be, I believe it's Green Bay. Yeah, it's Green Bay at 3. 4 would be the pathetic NFC East leading Dallas Cowboys. I'm not even saying they're pathetic necessarily, but the entire division is pathetic at 6-6. It's pretty much a shit show there in Dallas. The 5 seed right now would be the San Francisco 49ers. Of course, they play this weekend against the New Orleans Saints, so that has a lot of implications for the rest of the conference in terms of playoff seeding and positioning. And number 6 seed right now currently would be the Minnesota Vikings. Now, I believe San Francisco, Seattle, Green Bay, who was the other one? San Francisco, Green Bay, New Orleans and Seattle, all locks for the playoffs no matter what. And I'm still keeping Minnesota a lock. Even though they're only a game ahead in the wild card, I'm very confident in them to hold on to the one of the wild card spots, or even win the division if they catch up to Green Bay. I don't think they'll fall apart the rest of the way. I'm actually feeling better about this fight. I actually feel better about the Vikings now post loss to Seattle than I did before the game. So the only lock I don't have on there. The only team I'm not going to lock is the Dallas Cowboys for obvious reasons. Because as bad as Philadelphia's been the last couple of weeks, they're only a game behind and there's still 4 games to play, so they can still mess that up. Now, if you ask me right now how I feel about the NFC East, who gets in, I think Dallas figures it out. I think Dallas' team is too good. A much better roster than Philadelphia. Philadelphia's just falling apart. You know, I mean, losing Miami. No offense to Miami, but losing Miami the way you did, that's just pretty bad. So again, I have 5 locks in the NFC. I have 4 in the AFC. Well, I have 5 now in the AFC now as well too. So I'm pretty confident about Buffalo getting the job done. Okay, so yesterday real quick before we get to that, my top 5, bottom 5 in the power rankings, Week 14 power rankings are as follows. Let's go to the sad 5 first. 28-32. 28, Miami Dolphins. 29, Detroit Lions. 30, Washington Redskins. 31, New York Giants. 32, Cincinnati Bengals. I actually considered taking the Dolphins out of there, to be honest with you, because they've been really impressive on the last couple of weeks. So I was considering either taking Miami out and putting Detroit in, or even Atlanta in. But Miami's 28, Detroit 29, Washington 30, the Giants 31, and the Cincinnati Bengals at 32. Here you go. For the top 5 in the power rankings here. Same teams the last couple weeks, but a different order. 5, the Patriots. 4, the Saints. 3, the Niners. 2, the Seahawks. 1, the Ravens. There you go. Again, 1 through 5. Ravens, Seahawks, Niners, Saints, Patriots, in that order. What else we got here before we go? The college football rankings are out. Playoff rankings are out. Again, no surprise, the same 4 as last week in order. Actually, no, that's a lie. No. LSU's. Oh no, I apologize. The committee still right now has LSU at 2, Ohio State 1, LSU 2, 3, Clemson 4, Georgia. Now the shakeup really is in the bottom between 5 and 6 with Utah and Oklahoma, 5 and 6 respectively. The only issue I have right now, honestly, with the rankings is how is LSU behind Ohio State? And I'm not saying Ohio State's not good; they can win the whole thing this year. But LSU this year has better wins this year by 4 than Ohio State. Ohio State's best win this year is against Penn State, who are really good. Okay, LSU's beating Florida, Alabama, and Auburn, and Georgia. And now I expect to be, if this weekend is in the title games, if LSU wins against Georgia in the SEC title game on Saturday, I expect LSU to be ahead of Ohio State no matter what happens in the Big Ten title game, because you've beaten Georgia twice now, Alabama, with Tua, by the way. You also have beaten Auburn and Florida, with another top 10 team. So, again, as I said before in the past, the committee does this all the time. They try to throw a little zinger just for, I believe, for conversation's sake. Just my opinion, okay? So, this is a big weekend. Not a lot of chaos this week, honestly. If things go as planned, this will be your 4 next week, whatever order it may be. The only questions right now is 1 and 2, my opinion. Clemson should be Virginia in the ACC title game. They are 29-point favorites over Virginia. And then whether or not Georgia wins this weekend. If Georgia doesn't win, in my opinion, I believe if Oklahoma takes care of business, they should get in because they have beaten Baylor twice, better wins than Utah. But not a lot of chaos really going into this weekend. As long teams that are favored should do their job this weekend. I think the only mix-up will be with Georgia and LSU, and obviously the 5 and 6 teams below what they do, depending on what happens to Georgia and LSU. So, also yesterday news: Ron Rivera fired by the Panthers. 5-7 record this year. He had a decent tenure there. Went to the Super Bowl a couple years ago. Not surprising, really, to be honest. Even more so the timing. David Tepper said he got to change things up. I agree. I've been saying Rivera's been in the hot seat the last couple of years anyway. So a lot of speculation is that they don't like the way they handle the Cam Newton situation with the injuries and whatnot. Kind of leave hanging dry a little bit. I don't know. But we do know that Rivera was right on the hot seat, as it was anyway. So, yeah, not surprising here. It's more about the timing. Curious. I think he can get on the job somewhere else. I don't know where, but we'll see. The Panthers get a head start now on the head coaching search now going forward, as they will not make the playoffs this year, obviously. And I think that's about it. Oh, yeah, last night NBA slate was great. The Miami Heat, 15-5, big win against Toronto on the road. Big win and needed, too, because they played tonight Boston on the road again, so back-to-back nights. So they stole the game. I thought they would. They won the game. I didn't think they'd win, to be honest with you. So kudos to the Heat for winning that game, and without Goran Dragic, too, especially. So the Heat right now are tied for the 2 seed in the East. Lakers win again, bounced back last night against Denver. Clippers also win again as well last night, too. So solid night from the top teams in the NBA last night. Very, very fascinating NBA season so far. We'll get more in the NBA talk as we get closer to the end of the season in the NFL, of course. But it's early, but it's a lot of interesting, intriguing things going on in the NBA. So that's about it for now. I'm on Twitter, of course, at EJChris7. I'll try to do this again tomorrow. Hopefully, my picks for the Thursday night game between the Cowboys and the Bears and all that. Love you guys. Talk to you guys later. God bless y'all, and see ya.